In this video, I'm going to take you through the astrology energy for this end of May and into June, and how this energy may be affecting your children, and how you as parents or caregivers can better show up and support them in whatever ways that they need. My name is Chrissy Whistler. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, an intuitive, a healer, and even more importantly, I am a parent of two magical, multi-dimensional kids. They are also very sensitive, and I found that using astrology as a key and a guide has been so helpful for me as their parent, their mother, to really hold that space for them in whatever way that they need. Now, of course, all children are going to be different, and they're going to have their own unique experiences and how this energy might be affecting them. If you haven't already, I highly recommend you pulling up their birth chart. There's lots of free ones online, or if you would actually like to have a birth chart reading done for them, I am available for that as well, and you can find the information below in the description. So yeah, let's just jump into that and get going. This video is specifically going to be focusing for parents and kids. If you would like a much deeper dive, how this can be impacting you personally as an adult, or even a little bit more in depth of our collective and what's happening, I did do a previous video for that, so that's there for you if you want just a deeper dive. But if you are a parent, I have a feeling you don't have a lot of time on your hands. So I decided to pull out those bits that would be relevant for you and do your own separate video. So we'll see how that goes. And if it's something that you enjoy and it's helpful for you, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll keep doing these. All right, so I'll just get right into it. We have the new moon in Gemini tomorrow, depending on where in the world you are. This is taking place at 9 degrees of Gemini. And there's a lot of energy at play here, so there's just different layers of this that I'll be explaining and going into. So 9 degrees Gemini, this is really going to be about opening a door into the future. So really keep that on your mind as you're listening to this, is what ways can you go into the future with your kids that look very different than they have looked in the past. So keep that in mind, because this Uranus energy is very much on the menu. Uranus is going to be about shocks, surprises, changes. I'm just kind of like tuning into the energy. The children have been very vocal lately in my channelings and coming through in my intuition right now. Yeah, they're here already. Okay. So Uranus is revolutionary. Revolutionary, throwing the door open wide into the future. Progressive changes, looking into the future. And they're really asking us to go there right now, and I'm just kind of trying to tell them, yes, I hear you, and I'll get to it. And you'll see why in a moment. So Uranus, besides, because Uranus is sudden shocks and surprises. It's like a lightning bolt of insight coming in, information dropping down from on high out of nowhere. Electrical system. So if you have children who are very sensitive, central nervous system is very sensitive, this could be very highlighted for them right now. If that's true, that's your child, I highly recommend grounding. Getting their bare feet on the earth will be so helpful. Going into water, salt baths. If you're at the end of the day and you got a kid that's running around with all this energy, invite them to have a salt bath and see if that can help them. I know it's something that Eric absolutely loves to just play, is what he does. And I give him even a little bit of herbal body oil to go in that tub with him, and he just loves it. Just a safe space to really work out and move that energy. Movement will be very helpful to dispel those electrical sudden bolts that are coming in, maybe affecting them. So the other thing about Uranus is going to be truth and clarity, all right? That higher mind coming in, connecting us. So what can you expect in terms of your kids? So for your kids, I'm just kind of tuning in also to the energy as well as the astrology. Listen to your kids right now, this period coming forward. Really listen to them. They might have a lot of clarity and just really clear insight on who they are and what they need right now. We have Uranus conjunct that North Node in Taurus, so like there's more of that coming in. We have Mercury retrograde going to be stationing right there on that North Node as well. So a lot of clarity, a lot of insight that they may have for their body and their needs, their way and pace of going. So parents, caregivers, teachers, whoever you are working with children or you're around children, listen to them. Really listen and tune in, because they will tell you, even not necessarily with words, with actions, with their energy, their body movement, how they feel. Maybe they're feeling very sensitive and crying a lot. So tune into that and really hold space for them in whatever way that they need. Their sensitivities can also be very heightened right now. So this moment of the world that we're in is very intense. I mean, it's been very intense, and that's not going to let up. We're really in this crumbling down, breaking down of old structures that aren't working, and that's causing a lot of upheaval. It's like things really got to get bad before we can get broken open, like cracked open. That dark night of the soul movement, maybe in your life, that brought forth just huge change and transformation for you to be who you are now. Like that is what our collective, our world is going through. And our children, especially those who are very sensitive, who have all these special abilities, they might be picking up on that in a big way that even you or me can understand. So tune into your kids, because they will be the ones to tell you how, and again, not necessarily with words, but they will be able to tell you what they need, what kind of pace and slowness to move through those energies. So really listen to your kids right now. Again, take them into nature, let them move their bodies. That's a lot of Taurus and Aries energy is coming in big right now. We have Jupiter going through Aries, and actually today we have a Jupiter and Mars conjunction in Aries, which I'll get to in a minute. But so yes, moving the body is really big, really up right now. So I have notes. I'm just scanning the parts that are really going to be relevant to you. We have Mercury. Currently retrograde as the time of my recording this. Mercury is going to station direct on June 3rd. So when Mercury is in retrograde, it's a lot of time of inner thinking, inner reflection with our words and how we communicate with people. And it's again a revolutionary energy, Uranian energy of how can we change our thinking? How can we change our words? Is this, as it is, working? And if not, what could that change be? So that's a lot of the thoughts that are happening right now. And as we go direct with Mercury, we're going to get clarity on that. So when it comes to your kids now, that's the part I want to get to for you. Again, let them guide you. Let them direct you onto who they are, what makes them feel safe and secure. That's the Taurus energy. Their needs, their tastes, what's comfortable for them, what their values, who they are. It's all that Taurus wisdom, and that might be really coming up for them, depending on your kids. So again, make sure you listen. Really tune into them and let them be the guide for you. This really is not the time when us as parents think we know the best. And as I say that, I'm also thinking about that Jupiter and Mars energy in Aries. Like, this is really not the time for us to think we know what we're doing for them. This is the time to let them take the lead and to go exploring and to really uncover who they are. And they're going to do that by slowing down, by going at their pace, by not always constantly doing, but actually slowing down. So they have that time to digest and to figure out, who am I? What are the things that I like? And in fact, as parents, and yes, I hear you, Spirit, and I'll get, again, this will come up in another theme a little bit later on in this video, but as parents, you can actually help them in this by slowing down their schedule. This is absolutely no judgment. I know how busy children's lives are. In fact, when I was a kid, that was exactly what mine was like. But this is a great moment to slow it down, to cross off things on their play dates, on their list and their schedules that they don't need, and just really give them that opportunity to be in their body, to explore their desires, to go play. So let them slow that down. And they're also telling me this too. Slowing down is going to be very helpful for them to work through the energies of our world in this moment. I mean, let's face it, 2020, 2021, 2022, this has been really rough. And there's been so much focus more on, I'd say, us as adults and less on our kids and their actual needs, okay? Again, I'm not speaking to what we as adults think that they need, but like listening to our kids. What do you need? What kind of slowness and time do you need to process what you've been feeling? Because they've been through a trauma too. So, and they're currently still going through a trauma. And I say that as well, for those who are very sensitive, they are going to know what's happening in our world. And they're going to feel that in our body. And by slowing down, taking things off their to-do plate and just letting them really sit and to be quiet and still, to process and digest these feelings and emotions, and you maybe even sitting beside them as they're doing that, or if they're older, just letting them know that, hey, I'm here for you. It's that energy of a parent sitting down just on the other side of that closed door and just saying, hey, I'm here for you. I'm sitting with you in this. Let me know what you need. So that will really help them. Yes, I hear you. And it really wants to come through very strongly about what has happened again, very sadly, but in Texas with the school shooting. Like, this is not, it's not the first, it's not the second, right? Like, this is, it, I can't even put to words. And you'll hear some of that coming up in this video. It came in through the last one. Like I said, I'm a channel, I'm intuitive, and I work with children, and so I've really been feeling their energy very strongly, especially last week when I was camping in Sequoia and doing these different channelings there. They were very strongly coming in, and they're here now. So even if your children don't know what has happened, they can still feel it. And if you have one of those kids who literally has this super antenna on their head of sensing and feeling emotions and energy, this can be a very challenging moment. They can be feeling a lot of grief that they don't understand. So again, this is just about you being aware of what they may be feeling, and even if they don't have words. And how can you step up and help them and support them through that in a way that works for who they are and their age and their ability to understand. Like, that's your choice as a parent, but just know that they could really be feeling that energy and that grief and that rising up of anger, this fiery Mars energy, that protection. There's a lot of rising fury. It's almost like that. It's a rising divine feminine sacred warrior kind of energy and fury that's coming up, but they might be tuning into that as well. So just know that is there. So just tuning back in. So I would really invite you to ask your kids what they need to thrive. We're not just surviving anymore. We're having this world crumbling and breaking down, right? All the things that are old that aren't working are falling away. This is Pluto, last degrees of Saturn. It's breaking away. If it's not working, we're building something new. That's the Uranus Saturn square that's been going on. So that also means for our kids and life as it relates to them. So what is it they need to thrive? Not just survive, not just get through the school day and studying for the next test and just getting the homework done and trying to get to Friday when the bell goes off, or getting to the summertime or graduating high school and college. Like those old ways of doing things, like, okay, let's break away from that. And what do you need to thrive? And that will be different for each child. So no more of these one size cookie cutter fits all. We're all the same. We all learn the same. We all learn at the same pace. Taurus, okay? This is about our own unique way and pace of doing things and being in our body and our own tastes. So ask your kids and be open to say, hey, okay, I hear you. How can I meet you there? You may not be able to give them everything they need or everything they want, but that's that compromise and negotiation that really comes in, especially depending on the age of your children. That's a very important point. And I also want to just reflect back to you. What is it that you need to thrive? Because we can't give to our kids what we haven't given to ourselves. So, parents, caregivers, tune into yourself, tune into your values, what you like, what you find tasty, and go do that. And, and I hear too, okay, you model that and your kids are going to learn from you. Remember, they don't learn from what we say, they learn from what we do. So it's time for you to thrive. It's time for you to stop surviving if you are in a blessed, privileged economic situation where you can do that, certainly. It's time to start thriving. And what are those new paths that we can create to make that happen? All right. Now we also have Saturn going to be stationing retrograde, 25 degrees of Aquarius on June 4th. All right, so what does that mean? I'm not going to get super, super detailed with you, but I do want to let you know. Look at your chart or your kids, since we're really talking about your kids here. So look at their birth chart. if you need help with that, if you would like a birth chart reading, I offer those services. Send me a message, send me an email, and I'll help you out. But 20 to 29 degrees of Aquarius is what you're looking at, okay? And this is going to help guide you with what energies your specific child or children may be feeling. You also want to look at the fixed signs, which is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and as I said, Aquarius. If they have any planets there, they're going to be affected by the Saturnarian energy. All right, this can be a lot of obstacles and challenges. Saturn wants us to work for it. We need to be applying this conscious effort to build it, to build these new structures and systems that last. We got to get our hands dirty. We need to apply this conscious effort to build something new. It's not going to be easy. That's Saturn for you. So, and this is also going to be expectations and obligations, authority. That's all Saturn energy. So, Saturn's going retrograde. Okay, so this is a period where there can be deconditioning from authority, from expectations and obligations. And I hate to tell parents that includes you, because we are the authority generally of our children's life, especially depending on how old that they are. Okay, so, and this is being in Aquarius, so this is revolutionary. This is new opportunities, experimenting. This is a chance to move away from those conditionings of like what a good boy or girl is supposed to do or supposed to be, or again, like, oh yeah, you go finish college or you go to high school and then you go to college and you get this job and then you stay there until you retire. Like those like traditional like paths that we're on. This is a time to really go into that and reinvent and to break away from those conditionings that we were taught and they have been taught in their early childhood. So be aware that you might be getting resistance from them or feedback from them, that these expectations and obligations placed on them are not working. All right, so really, really be aware that this energy is building up for them, okay? And again, look at their birth chart and you can see by house and planet aspect how this might be affecting them. So, Saturn is also square to Uranus right now, okay? So, this is changing infrastructure, systems, societies, jobs, careers. It's all about change, all about building this new future. What does that mean for us parents? Like what kind of energies are going to be reflected in our kids? You might be finding resistance. You might be hearing a lot of, I don't like this. I don't want to be this. I don't want to do that. So be mindful. Be aware, listen. Again, it's really about co-creating right now with our kids. How can we show up for them? How can we meet them halfway? Compromise, negotiate. What else was coming into my mind? I just lost it. Yeah, we'll see if it comes back to me. It's also not a time when us as parents are going to be able to fix these things. Like it's not about us fixing. This is really about them kind of coming into their own power that they can make these changes. So if you find that reflected in your kid and they're coming back to you and they're wanting to make these changes, not have you fix something. I'm just thinking of like something silly like, oh, come and do this really hard project for me, Mom, I can't do it. It's not about you coming and fixing and saving the day. Like this is really building resilience and strength within them, which they will then be able to go and bring it out into the world to build the new and have it last. Because Saturn is long lasting. Like it may not be easy going through it, but it's here to be here. It's here to really build something. And Saturn's also about recognizing our own gifts, our skills and capabilities, being our own authority. So that's something that you can be very supportive of your kids during this time, is giving them that feedback of how capable they are. Now, again, it has to come from the inside within them, but that doesn't mean you can't still hold a really good container to help build that strength. You can absolutely be supporting them as they explore and come into and reclaim that strength within themselves, that authority that they are in life, their capabilities. Like, you can really help them along with that. All right. Okay, so as I said, I'm also just kind of tuning into the energy right now because the children are asking me to. Speaking about that Saturn and Uranus square right now. Saturn is also square the nodes of the moon. I've talked about this breaking down of structures and things that aren't working, and our educational system, I certainly believe it's not working as it currently is. Generally, I mean, I know there's amazing teachers out there, so I'm not speaking against the teachers. I'm speaking about the system, the overall systems and structures in place. Very top-down authority. This is how you learn, the way and pace that you learn. This is what you learn, like that adult authoritative figure imposing on the child, the children, including our own inner children and our own experiences, okay? So it's been that top-down model, and I'm sorry, it's just not easy to tune into the energy of the tragedy in Texas, the tragedy that has been going on for a really long time, years, over a decade, I believe, at this point. With school shootings, just as an example, and I'm being very mindful and careful of my words, because of what it is, and because of the grief that this has brought to children and parents and teachers. Sorry, just taking a moment. It's not working. The system isn't working. And there's so many layers to this, so it's not something easily put into words because it's not just one thing. It's asking new questions. All right, now this is that Mercury energy, okay? Mercury retrograde is tied very strongly into the Saturn retrograde as well, like it's going direct right as Saturn goes retrograde. So it's asking new questions. What isn't working about this? Why is this happening? Let's look deeper, okay? Deeper, going under the surface. This is Pluto. Pluto is in the last degrees of Capricorn. We're in a south node of Pluto right now. So this is asking us to go into the darkness, go into this grief. Don't sweep it under the rug, go into it. Go into it with your children. The trauma that they are feeling through this, especially if they're old enough to be aware and, to even witness, their children who witness this and experience this, okay? So we're being asked as this collective right now to go into that experience and to go into those emotions with them and sit in that darkness and to be in that intensity and that discomfort. The systems aren't working. The systems of our education, the competition. Now, some of this, of course, is my opinion. I certainly have my own opinion about schools, which is why I homeschool and do self-directed learning with my children. But I just kind of want to throw that in there. So yeah, I do have opinions about this. But the systems, again, aren't working. It's how our children are learned, this competition, the anxiety. We need to question, why does this keep happening to our children? Why are they feeling the way that they are feeling about being in school? Where is this coming from? This is a system set up around mental health and having a more openness in conversations and support. This is systems of economics and social structures and pressures, and how can we better support those who really do need it. So these are the questions that I'm talking about that need to be asked so we can get to the root problem. Okay, surface level is that, okay, we have an issue with these I'm sorry, semiotic or automatic, fully automatic. I don't know. I don't follow the news very closely, just for my own energy levels. But that's the surface level question. I'm not saying that's or surface level focus. I'm not saying that's a wrong, but it's not enough. We need to go underneath the systems, and that is what this Saturn energy, this Saturn retrograde, is asking us, is demanding us, especially with that square to Uranus. If we want that new future, we need to go. We need to go in where it's not comfortable, and we need these things to break it down and fall away so we can have changes coming through. Sorry, so much energy coming through. We need to go deeper with this. Think deeper, feel deeper, go under the surface of these systems and really start asking hard questions and demanding answers. And us taking back our authority. Okay, remember what I said, this isn't about a time of parents fixing things. It's also not a time about the government fixing things. This is a time for the individual to rise up, and I wouldn't be surprised if we really find a rising energy coming from our young people around this topic very specifically. Yeah, again, just a lot of energy, a lot of emotion coming in. I've been doing a lot of channelings, and the children have been coming in very strongly. Intuitive readings as well, especially making space for children and people who are these different colors, right? They're not fitting in the traditional systems. They're not conforming to be the cookie cutter. They're like, I am who I am, and you can't change me. And how can we make some space? How can we just not make some space, but literally, how can we allow an equal existence alongside those of us who are more normal, who are these normal rose-looking flowers, as opposed to the whole garden? That's been very much a message from the children, and they wanted me to share that right now with you. I've been talking about that Jupiter and Mars energy in Aries coming through. So this is it's going to be a big one to be aware of for parents. So sorry, I need a little bit of water. When I do channelings like that, I need a little bit more water to help ground my system too. All right, so Jupiter is going to be in Aries with a slight dip in Pisces, but pretty much this energy is from now until May 2023. Okay, so just be aware of that this is going to be here for a while, just like the Saturn-Uranus square, just like the Saturn square, the nodal axis. This is energy that's going to be with us for a bit. So heads up what's coming. So Jupiter is a planet of expansion, so it's going to expand any zodiac sign that it's in. So what is Aries? Aries is individuality, independence, autonomy, desires, what is fresh, new, and exciting. It's open roads, okay? And we have this conjunction today as I'm filming this. So it's going to be a tremendous conviction and focus on those areas. Excuse me. If you don't know, I clear by burping, and so I just let it out. So that needed to come out. So this is a time for our children that's going to be very, really about self-discovery. A time for them to discover their unique self, their individuality, and they're going to need open road and freedom to do this. So they can do the discovering. They have to go exploring. And we as parents need to give them that space to go exploring. And how can we do that in a way that is also holding a safe container for them? That's going to be something for you to figure out the age of your children. But if you notice that they're really maybe pulling away from you, they're really seeking their own individuality, their own autonomy, their own independence, know that that is exactly this energy that we're in. It's going to expand it. So if you have teens right now and they're in that exploring stage and separating from you to be their own individual, know that this might be really inflated for you. So again, just know to expect it. So maybe you can move through that with a little bit more ease and grace. You might be able to sit with them, to compromise, to negotiate what boundaries you're comfortable with, listen to them, what they think their needs are. They may not know because again, they're on that journey of self-discovery. They may not know, but you could be a really good sounding board for them. The polarity point of Aries is Libra. So being able to listen to them, to collaborate, to co-create with them, to have that openness and that space to go exploring, to learn what their desires are, that could be very, very supportive for them at this time, especially if you have older children, teens and preteens. And passions and desires are going to be up for that too, because that's also the Aries energy. So sit with them and discover for both of you what those boundaries are, and just know that it's up. So how can you meet them? How can you meet them halfway with that? This is also really going to be about what lights them up. So you might be seeing oh, they're really passionate about this thing. Go encourage them to follow that and support them in whatever ways that they may need for that. So again, really containing a safe container for freedom to explore, and what that could look like would be very different for each of you and your lives that you're in. Especially if they are more than likely in a school environment. Be open to them, to their suggestions on what that could be, and what they may need to go and do this. Maybe even time away from you with another family or someone that you trust, and giving them that freedom, right? And yet still having, okay, I know you're with this person, so there's a safe place that they can go and explore, and that would be for both of you, having that safe container. We're also going to be having some just general energies coming up as Jupiter comes towards Chiron during summertime. So really deep healing, warrior healing of the masculine, gender stigmas, self-empowerment is up. Desires that could be repressed are coming to the surface and looking for healing. So you might be able to help them along with that, or providing for them a therapist or someone who's not you, but another trusted adult that they have to talk to and who can listen without projection. That could be very helpful for your older your older kids and your older teens. I really invite you that even though this might be a very uncomfortable time for you as a parent, okay, I invite you to walk alongside your kids as this comes up in their life. You know, do that hard thing, as I mentioned earlier, and sit in that discomfort and hold that safe space for them, that container, so they feel safe, so they can go exploring. And that is actually what balance in Aries looks like. You can help them with discernment, you know, modeling even discernment. What's the next right step? Where your energy is going, your focus. That could be something that you can help teach them as well. And I would also just recommend, as things are really hard and challenging, again, we just had this tragedy happen in Texas with the school shooting. Another way to help them move through whatever it is that they're feeling, anger, grief, I mean, I'm sure it could be all of the above. Let them have those feelings, of course. And then you can, a good way to move through that energy so you don't get stuck in it, is to focus on the passions and the desires. So you can hold that for them as well. If they're really struggling, you can be like, hey, this thing that you really enjoy, do you want to go do that together? You know, something like that. Or you can even, charity and giving to others can help pull us out of our fears and out of the uncertainties of this current world. And you can be like, hey, let's go, you know, let's go volunteer to soup kitchen, or let's go volunteer for this, or, you know, an animal shelter or something like that, something that excites them, and it will help them move through the intensity of this moment in this crumbling, changing world that they are a part of, and they're feeling, even if we don't always as adults acknowledge that. So, all right, so I'm just going to want to conclude this up a little bit, as we do have the new moon in Gemini tomorrow, the 30th, depending on where you are in the world. It's going to be again at 9 degrees of Gemini, and you can see where that falls in their chart. This is really going to be a time about sowing a seed into the future. So really bringing in future energies. You might even see the future, like that's sudden downloads and insights coming in right now. This is taking place on the north node of Uranus, so that can absolutely happen. If you have sensitive, psychic kids with magical abilities, you know, like special abilities, they might be picking up on that. So just kind of like know and pay attention and listen to what they might be sharing with you, or showing you in their bodies and in their emotions. This is Gemini, so Gemini is very much about curiosity. That inner child excitement. It's doing a lot of little things. Like Twitter is a really great name actually for Mercury. So they might go here and here and here and here, and they just want to try a little bit of everything wherever their interest takes them. And it's like, if they finish something right now, or I should say, like if they start something new without finishing, let that be okay. All right, don't force them to finish something that they've necessarily started. Like, start to cultivate this. Oh, you want to go do this thing over here? Okay, well, yes, go do it. I mean, you might want to ask them to like clean up at least, depending on how old they are. But you know, like that's a really good boundary that you can still set while honoring that inner child excitement and curiosity. You can do that. And so that is going to take us into, I mean, really it's mid-June, but a lot of these energies are going to be with us for quite a while, like a year into into the future. So I hope that is helpful for you to guide you with what you might be expecting in your kids right now and their behaviors and their sensitivities, even if they are very sensitive, unique souls. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and if you would like support on learning more about your children's birth chart, go check out the link below in the description, and I can absolutely help you out with that. So thank you so much. Take care, and I will talk with you soon. Bye-bye.